Okay, we're learning the laws of Lashon Harah. We're starting a new chapter, chapter 7. And we're still speaking about the laws of listening to Lashon Harah, of evil speech, that just like there's a prohibition to speak evil about one another, there's also a prohibition to listen and believe evil which is spoken or something negative spoken about somebody else. So let's begin. Halacha Aleph. Isser Kabbalas Lashon Harahu, afilu im hamasaper, mesaper es hadvarim bepirsum. The prohibition of listening to Lashon Hara applies even if it was spoken in public, lifnei kama anashim, in front of many people. Afal pikein ein lahachlet machmazesha davar emes. Even so, you're not allowed to believe what was said was true. So one might think that since this topic, this negative speech, was spoken in front of many, many people, well, this fellow wouldn't have spoken it unless it was true. Nevertheless, one is not allowed to believe Lashon Hara even when it was said in front of a lot of people. Rakesh lahashamim lachosh lazeh v'lachkor im adavar es adavar v'mizbar lahem shedavar emes yochichuhu al zeh. Rather, a person is allowed to only be chayshish for it, meaning you're allowed to take the proper precautions and to investigate it, meaning if someone gets up in front of a lot of people and says that Tom is a thief, and you were thinking of going into business with Tom, you're not allowed to believe Tom is a thief, but you are allowed to protect yourself and not continue your business partnership or go into your business partnership, and you should investigate it to see if it's actually true. And if it is true, let's say Tom did something wrong, then you could go and rebuke him and help him lead the proper life. Halacha Aleph. Halacha Beis, number 2. Ein shem heter lahamin b'lashon hara afilu im hamasaper sipur alav b'lashon hara b'fanav. You're not allowed to believe Lashon Hara, even if it was said in front of the person, even if the person who it was said about is standing there. So meaning someone tells you Lashon Hara about Tom, says Tom is a murderer and he's a thief and he's an angry person, and Tom is standing right there, you're still not to believe it. Since Tom didn't admit to it, he didn't say I killed anybody. Im ein mesaper ata b'fanav rak omer shehaya omer sadvar me'elu b'fanav da'asur lahaminu mitam zeh u'b'avanas haram ha'olam nechshalim b'zeh ma'od. Right, and just like if Tom is standing there and someone says Lashon Hara, you're not allowed to believe him. All the more so if someone tells you Lashon Hara and says, I don't care, I know what I'm saying is true, and if Tom was here, I would say it also. You're still not allowed to believe that, right? Everyone tries to be like a tough guy. Yeah, if he was here, I would still say it anyway. No, that doesn't make it any more believable, and you're still not allowed to believe the Lashon Hara in that situation. Now, va'afilu imhu shosek ata. B'shasha omer malav hadivrei genos b'fanav. Afilu hachi ein li kach mizeh shum raya lahachlet shedavar emes. Va'afilu im tivo tamid shelo lishto kishe omer lo davar shelo kirtzono. U'wazu apam shesik. Now, even if Tom is standing there and this guy says Lashon Hara on Tom, and Tom is standing there and he's not responding at all. He's just quiet. Even though he's quiet, and you'll say, oh, he must be quiet because what he's saying about him is true. Nevertheless, you are not allowed to believe the Lashon Hara is true. Now, even if Tom is the type that when anyone speaks about him, he always fights back, and he always says, no, that's not true, you're a liar, and he's never quiet, but now he's quiet, still you're not allowed to believe the Lashon Hara about Tom. Why? Ki ulai nisgaber ata al tivo. Maybe Tom became a better person, and he learned to overcome his character traits, right? It's very difficult when someone says something bad about you. You always want to respond. It's very difficult to remain quiet, but maybe Tom is trying to become a better person and say, you know, I don't have to respond to every negative thing that is said about me. Right? We learned in another class that if someone embarrasses you, if someone says something to you, and you can respond and you keep quiet, there's a tremendous merit in doing that. It says the world exists on the merit of people who remain quiet during a fight, during times of contention. So if someone insults you and you remain quiet, even though you're allowed to defend yourself, but you go beyond the letter of the law and remain quiet, that is a tremendous schus. It's a tremendous merit, and it's a very good thing to do. You're not required to do it, but it's a very good thing to do. So maybe that's what Tom's doing. You can't prove to me that what this guy is telling me about Tom is true from the fact that Tom's standing here and is being quiet, because maybe he's trying to be a better person and just not respond to everything that's said about him. Maybe he decided that he's not going to answer every ridiculous claim which is said about him. Or maybe, he figured out that, based on this guy who's speaking, if he would defend himself, it would be fruitless. People would believe the guy talking Lashon Hara about him. He figures even if he would protest and say 100 times, no, I'm not a thief, I'm not a murderer, no one would believe him, so he just decided, he just decided it's better to be quiet. He said it's better for me to just sit here and be denigrated and not protest, either because he's working on his character traits, he wants to be a good person, he doesn't feel he needs to respond, or he realizes in his head it's not going to do anything. People aren't going to believe him. This guy is a very believable guy, and if I defend myself, they're not going to believe me. So he decides that he's going to remain quiet. Okay, let's go on to Halacha Gimel, number 3. Now, up until now, we were talking about the prohibition of believing Lashon Hara when one person tells it to you. What if 2 people tell it to you? Now, why should 2 people be different? Because we know in Judaism that in a rabbinical court, 2 people are believed. That's the requirement for witnesses, that the Bezdin, the Jewish court, can inflict punishment and other laws based on 2 witnesses. Two witnesses have more believability in the Torah than 1 witness. So what happens now if 2 people come and tell you something bad about Tom? Are you allowed to believe it? So he says you're not allowed to. Not allowed, even with 2 people. So what's the difference? How come we usually believe 2 people in court, but we don't believe 2 people when they tell you something bad about Tom? So he says, Im sipurlo kevad afilu lefi divrayhem she pliny asa shaloike hagen avru alav de lo selech rachel shehu afilu al emes. Why? Because these 2 people, when they told you Lashon Hara, there's no purpose of them telling you this Lashon Hara. And if, let's say they say something negative about Tom, even if it's true, let's say they saw Tom eating a bacon cheeseburger, which is against the Torah, and they tell you that. So there was no purpose of them to tell you that. So they became sinners by telling you that Tom was eating a bacon cheeseburger, even if it's true. Im kain rishayim heim, so therefore they're evil, because they violated the sin of Lashon Hara. These 2 people who are speaking Lashon Hara, if they don't listen to the law of Lashon Hara, they probably also don't tell the truth. And to add things on what they're saying, who cares that they're 2? Maybe even if more witnesses would tell you, but they're evil people, so you don't believe evil people. So he says that, right, and the guy who they're speaking about, Tom, until now, he's got a cheskes kashrus, meaning you have 2 people, they come and tell you Lashon Hara about Tom. I don't know Tom, so as far as I know, he's a good person, he doesn't do anything wrong. These 2 people come and tell me Lashon Hara, so all I know about them is that they speak Lashon Hara. That makes them Rishayim, they're evil. This guy Tom, I don't know anything about. As far as I know, he's a good person. So why would I believe 2 evil people over Tom? So for sure, I don't believe what they're saying. Even if it's something, but even if it's something that they wouldn't become Rishayim if they spoke this Lashon Hara. Let's say, right, an Apikoros, a heretic, for example, a heretic one is allowed to speak Lashon Hara about. Let's say they're saying that some guy is a heretic. He goes around preaching things against the Torah. So can you believe in them? So nevertheless, you're not allowed to believe what they say. As true. Why? They're not necessarily becoming evil because they're allowed to say what they're saying. It's not evil. It's only evil to say something negative about somebody when it's the Torah prohibition of Lashon Hara. For instance, to say about somebody that he's doing a sin. Not allowed to say that. But if let's say they're talking about a person, they're saying that he is a heretic, that doesn't make them Rishayim, because if what they're saying is true, that he is a heretic, it's totally fine. It might even be a mitzvah to do what they're doing, to spread the word about this guy, that he's very dangerous. So, but if I don't know anything about this person that they're saying is a heretic, should I believe them? So the answer is no. But there's 2 people, and I always believe 2 people. when they tell me in Bezdin. So he says the fact that we only believe two witnesses, that's only when we're in rabbinic court, only when we're in Bezdin of a chutz lebezdin, but outside of court, loy, you don't believe them. The filim yamru shaker enam nikraim ede shaker ki im motzi shem raba'alma, right? Because there's a different status when you lie in court. That's different than lying to my face, even though it's two people, right? Two people lie to somebody, that's bad. But it's not the same as lying in court. When you lie in court, you become an aid sheker, a false witness, but you don't become a false witness outside of court. You're not in court. And he says again that all of this that we say we don't believe, that's only that we don't believe it's true, but we're allowed to be chayshish. We're allowed to be worried about it. Let's say in our case that two witnesses come and tell you, even one witness, and he says, yeah, this guy is a heretic. You shouldn't learn from him. So you're not allowed to believe, but it's true. But if your son is about to go to his classroom, you're allowed to be worried that maybe this guy's a heretic, and you should investigate him. You don't have to send your son to go hear words of heresy. Okay, so just to summarize, even if Lashon Hara is spoken in one person in front of a lot of people, that doesn't mean that you're still not allowed to believe it. Even if Lashon Hara is spoken, the object of the Lashon Hara who's being spoken about is there, and he's remaining totally quiet, you're still not allowed to believe it. And even if two people come to you and tell you Lashon Hara, you're not allowed to believe them. And even though usually two people are more believed, that's only in court. And especially here, that they might even be wicked people because they're spreading Lashon Hara, and for sure, wicked people don't have more of a believability, no matter how many you have, because they're wicked. It's only good people that you believe when there's two or more. If you have any questions, please feel free to message them. And if you want to subscribe to this class to get it sent by email, please send me a message.